Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people in the chat. We got Pete, we got Juan, we got Chef, we got Jay, Ron. What's up, y'all? Classy, I see you up there as well. Jake, I see you up there as well. Appreciate you guys for being here up and foremost. Do me a huge favor, smack the like button here on your way in. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was a crazy whirlwind of news dropping in the world of the NFL. And no, you probably clicked on it and you're like, oh, bro, no. I'm talking about Micah Parsons going on over to the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to be diving into, because I'm seeing a lot of Cardinal fans right now, or Cardinal media, people that are saying that the Cardinals should have been on in Micah Parsons. We're going to be diving into that a little later on, but what we're going to first talk about here is the big bombshell of news dropping in the world of the NFL that Micah Parsons is now going to the Green Bay Packers. Now, shout out here to my guy Pete saying this. I was shocked that the Cowboys turned down our offer of Clayton Tune from Micah Parsons. 100%. Yeah, this is outlandish, man. The disrespect for Clayton Brady is absolutely nuts, right? Oh man, what a day to be alive! This is crazy. Now, okay, I'm not sure if you guys are watching the Netflix documentary uh from Jerry Jones. It's just, it's so typical Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones fashion that this would happen, right? And I was watching that presser. Like, I feel like everybody in the NFL world was watching that presser because, like, I want to be real, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Jones loves his spotlight. He's got such a big ego on him that is this almost felt like this trade was driven based off of ego as opposed to smarts. Like, this wasn't a smart thing to do. Now, granted, you got 2 first round picks and um was it Kenny Clark, right? Let me take a look here. Yeah. Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers. That's what they ended up getting back, and that's what the package was. And good for Micah Parsons, man. He ended up getting 4 years, $188 million extension. What? This is insane. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but that is a crazy amount of money. And obviously, congratulations to him because that's massive. That's absolutely massive. 4 years, $188 million extension for Micah Parsons. And of course, there's videos everywhere when it comes down to the Green Bay Packers fans, and they should be excited. Like, they really should, because this is a really good move from them. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys fans, which this is kind of prototypical, fandom in general, which I don't get myself. I remember everybody and their mother, well, with the exception of maybe a few Cowboy fans, saying things like, oh man, like Micah Parsons ain't going nowhere. He's my favorite player. I would leave this organization if, Jerry Jones did something like that, blah, 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 blah. The move made change, or the move went down yesterday, and everybody's switching up. Oh, I didn't want to pay him that much anyways. Micah Parsons wasn't worth that much. Oh, he was a distraction. Oh, man, be quiet. Just admit that y'all fumbled. Just admit it. Y'all fumbled the bag here. Y'all believing in a guy that's senile, a guy that shouldn't make any decisions right now. Jerry Jones calling Micah Parsons Michael Parsons 4 or 5 times during this live presser is telling on its own. This man does not have his head on right. He doesn't. The egotisticalness of Jerry Jones made this move happen, and this is not a smart move at all. Nobody's coming out here to the defense of Dallas Cowboys and saying, oh man, you got 2 first-round picks. Oh, congratulations. Well, guess what? The Green Bay Packers most likely will hit the playoffs in the next 2 years. So you're probably talking about a late first-round pick anyway. So you're not talking about a top 10 first-round pick for what you got. It's absolutely insane. And not just that, you moved them on in the conference. You moved them to the conference. It's not like you moved them off to the other side of, the AFC side. No, you kept them here in-house. You kept them in the NFC. Just the dumbest thing I've seen like what seems like the most recent dumbest thing I've seen in a very long time in the world of the NFL. And this is a billionaire, ladies, and this is a billionaire making these decisions when you got already Luka Doncic getting trade over from the Mavs, and then you got Micah Parsons going away from the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, it's not a good day for the Dallas Cowboys fandom. And I'm not lying to you, ladies and gentlemen. I had a couple, maybe might be 2, but a couple people leaving that fandom in the Dallas Cowboys, and some of them are trying to come over here to the Arizona Cardinals. Hey, welcome. welcome. We don't have a big fan base as is. We'll take you with open arms. That's completely fine. But there's a lot of Cowboys fans turning in their recognition, turning in their jerseys, turning in their allegiance of what they believed in. They no longer want to be a Dallas Cowboys fan because of the decision of Jerry Jones. And I get it, man. There was this whole big thing that happened. I believe it was last offseason where everybody was trying to riot, or not riot, that's not the word, protest, right? People were trying to protest to fire general manager or Jerry Jones as a general manager. Honestly, I give kudos to those Cowboy fans to try to do something like that, but this is bigger than probably however many people were trying to band together. This is so much, but this guy's got so much power, and it's not even funny. This guy isn't going anywhere unless Father Time gets him. Let's be real. He ain't going anywhere. This is his biggest flex he's got, right? I mean, obviously he's got businesses and stuff like that, but this is one of his biggest flex, and he loves the attention. He loves the attention. He ain't going nowhere. So doomsday, doomsday for the Dallas Cowboys. And although I love the Dallas Cowboy tiers, I'm gonna be real, I love it. To be honest with you, my dad was a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I told him about this. He doesn't really follow football as like he used to, but like he still is a Dallas Cowboys fan, right? Quote unquote. But he even said it. Like he was like, these they're dumb. This is the reason why I stopped watching. All right, well, here we go, right? Here we go. We got our first super chat of the day. We got Cardinals opinion saying, what do you think about Dallas's defense now? Well, Dallas's defense was pretty solid last year with Micah Parsons having another double-digit sack season. I mean, they're bringing what is it? Trayvon Diggs coming back. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're great. I mean, they're probably going to be middle, right? But like, you have a player like Micah Parsons that easily makes you move up like 5 spots, right? Because of how dominant he is at the edge position. They're probably still ranked somewhere in the line of like maybe 15, like mid 15s or 13, 14, wherever you want to kind of want to put them. I don't put them as a top 5 or top 10 defense anymore. Now, yeah, they got Kenny Clark, good for them, and they got 2 first-round picks. And it's funny because on the Dallas Cowboys graphic that they ended up putting out, they wanted everybody to make sure that everybody's fully aware that this is Pro Bowler Kenny Clark that ended up coming back. Pro Bowler Kenny Clark that ended up coming to the Dallas Cowboys with the 2 first-round picks. Jerry just speaks in circles. Jerry just speaks in circles right now, and this guy should not be making any decisions at all. So, Micah Parsons, excuse me, Micah Parsons now going to the Green Bay Packers, staying within conference, and guess what? The Arizona Cardinals are playing the Green Bay Packers this year. Now, did I fear Green Bay? I mean, I wouldn't say I feared Green Bay, but I mean, they're a good team. They're always some sort of playoff contention team or maybe a borderline playoff team, but this does put them in the level of they could potentially make a deep run. Now, for the people out there saying this is a championship caliber team, right? I wouldn't say championship caliber. I think that on paper, they've established more than the Arizona Cardinals have, if I'm going to be real, like taking my biasness off. But I still do think this is going to be a really good matchup for the Cardinals. October 19th at the 1:25 p.m. slot, AZ time. This is going to be a very exciting game. Now, this is going to be at home, right? It's going to be at State Farm Stadium, so we don't have the inclement weather that's going to affect us very much when it comes down to going over to Lambeau, which is good. But at the end of the day, this is a good move, man. This is a really good move for the Green Bay Packers. And any Cowboy fan that tries to tell you anything different, they're lying to themselves. They're lying to themselves. They're absolutely lying to themselves. Now, we are going to dive into a little later on, should the Arizona Cardinals have made this move? Because I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of people out there saying, Monty should have made this move. Monty should have made this move. Why did Monty make this move, right? I heard somebody say we had a championship window. I don't know about that. We don't. Okay, I want to be clear. The Cardinals right now don't have a championship window. At least in my opinion, I don't think they have a championship window. I think they got a playoff caliber team, and if they get hot at the right time, they probably can go deep into the playoffs if they don't crash and burn at the second part of the season, right? But I don't think they got a championship team, right? I mean, Super Bowl, right? We're not the Eagles. We're not the Chiefs. We're not those fan bases or organizations that consistently there, right? It does take 2 or 3 years for us to get there. And unfortunately, when we're there, we're good for 2 or 3 years and then we rebuild for another 3 years. That's just been the history of the Cardinals. Right now, I don't feel like we're there yet. Am I wrong? Can I be wrong? I can. I'm wrong a lot. So I can, but I don't think we have a quote unquote championship window, in my personal opinion, for the Arizona Cardinals. Do I feel like we got a good playoff team? I do. I think this team can be good if they take care of business in the second half of the season, right? And of course, you got to take care of what you can take care of in the first part of the season. You got the Saints, you got the Panthers, you got the 49ers with no Brandon Ayuk, and then you got the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold, what is he going to do? We don't know what that's going to look like. After those two division games, we got the Titans, we got the Colts, we got the Green Bay Packers, the Cowboys in Jerry World, which Kyler Murray usually turns it on really, really crazily in Jerry World. So, we got favorable matchup on our end. I'm not saying we're going to go undefeated, but if we're not over 500 by like 2 games by the time we hit Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World, I feel like something's wrong. I feel like something's absolutely wrong. But obviously, we're going to be finding out that answer here really, really soon. I want to see the Cardinals absolutely obliterate the Saints, right? I want to say that, hey, we did not need that playoff game. Good for you, Jonathan Gannon. You already knew, right? You saw it. You saw it. But you better bet your bottom dollar if the Cardinals come into New Orleans and they struggle but still win, there's still going to be concerns. There's going to be concerns about the Arizona Cardinals, what they could potentially accomplish. We need to see an absolute obliteration. That team right there, the Saints, they should be in no way, shape, or form be in the same game as the Cardinals. Now, I'm not saying 50-0. I'm saying like 24-13. That's good to me. That's good, right? 24-10. I'm cool with that, right? I'm not saying 50-0, right? If we score 30 points and they score 17, I feel like that's 2 possessions. So I said obliteration earlier. I didn't mean obliteration. I mean, like, you got to win this game comfortably, right? You got to show that you are the dominant team at the end of the day. And that's one thing I'm really, really excited to see what the Cardinals are going to be able to accomplish. So we got a couple super chats coming our way. Let me get to these super chats real quick. We've got Cardinal Opinion with a back-to-back super chat, this time a $5 donation. He says this: Dallas is not ready for the Cardinals defense. Is dangerous. I do feel like the Cardinals defense on paper is very good. There is still some concerns in that middle linebacking, specifically the Akeem Davis-Gaither position, and then the youngness of our cornerback. So I think our defense is good, but like, it depends on the next step of Max Melton, right? It depends on the rookie year of Will Johnson, right? And what Akeem Davis-Gaither brings to us. Short of that, I feel like our defensive line, even without Walter Nolan, is very, very stout, right? I feel like our defensive line has a plethora amount of players that can do very, very well. Now, we still don't have Justin Jones. He ended up going to IR. What's new, right? Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols last year was our biggest free agent signings. They just can't stay healthy, unfortunately. It sucks. It really does. But you got those guys. Will they make the roster when they get healthy? Who knows? We'll have to kind of wait and see. BJ Ojulari, we're still kind of waiting for him to kind of get there, right? We're seeing a second year of Darius Robinson, Calais, Dalvin Tomlinson. We got a really good team, right? Josh Sweat. So we do. We really got a good team. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. Let's keep it going here in the chat. We got another back-to-back Cardinals Opinion with another super chat, another $5 donation coming our way. He says this: what piece are we missing to be a Super Bowl contender? What piece are we missing to be a... So you're asking, what are we missing? Well, let me ask you, chat. I'll give you my opinion, and then chat, you answer this as well. What do you feel like we're missing to be a Super Bowl contending team right now? Like the Cardinals team right now, what are they missing to be a Super Bowl contending team? Let me know in the chat, and I'll give you my own spiel as well. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, there is some concern. The defensive line, that's one of the most... How should I put this? This is the most confident I am in our defensive line that I've had in a very long time. But there's still some concern on the defense in general, right? I mentioned it before, Akeem Davis-Gaither and how young our cornerbacks are. I have all the faith in the world that Garrett Williams is going to be good, right? We know that. We've already seen the sample size. And per PFF, he's one of the best coverage corners that we have, right? So on the defense, although I'm confident more than I am in the offense, there's still some pieces that I'm like, I would love to shore those guys up, right? On the opposite side of the coin, right? On the offensive side, there's still concern for me for wide receiver. There is, and I know people get upset with me. People are like, "Oh, you got to believe in Monty. You got to believe in JG." I do, but that doesn't mean that if somebody doesn't become available, a guy that does it very, very well and has proven that he can put up really good numbers, I'm always going to put this out there. Should the Cardinals be interested, right? Should the Cardinals be interested? Because I still do think that we're probably going to have a conversation sometime during this year saying, man, why did Monty do it, right? Why did Monty go after a wide receiver when everybody was clamoring for him. What we know right now is that Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon truly love what they got, or maybe not love, but they really like what they have at the wide receiving core right now. They truly do like it. So wide receiver to me, that number two, like that bona fide number two, although Michael Wilson can still be that guy, right? But jury's out. We don't know yet, right? So there's that. And I'm going to be real. Kyler. Can Kyler win us a big time game, right? The games in November, the games in December on a consistent basis, right? That's what I'm looking for. If we can find out those and we find out that Kyler Murray is the quarterback of the future and everything's hunky-dory, then yeah, I think I can kind of come to a realization that, hey, this might be a Super Bowl contending team, and this could be a quarterback that can get us there. But as of right now, Kyler has not proved that he could win us big-time games. I'm coming into the season with all the faith in the world, though, right? I want us to have a playoff win. I want us to get into the playoffs, fight for the division. I'm not saying win the division, but fight for the division from the beginning of the season all the way to the end. So we're still missing some pieces, in my opinion, but also there's a lot of gray area amongst the pieces that we have currently right now. If they can prove it that they are going to be that team, then man, let's go. Then let's rock and roll. I still don't think that we are. And I don't think we have a championship window per se. Right now, this year, I think we got a top maybe 12, top 10 defense. If I'm on paper, I do think we do, but there's a lot of gray area still that's going around that. So it's going to be, spearheaded by our defensive line, right? It's going to be spearheaded by our defensive line. So that's a good question. It really is. What does it take to be a Super Bowl contending team, right? Because there's some people that feel like we got a championship window. I don't. I personally don't, but that's just my opinion, right? My opinion is not more than your guys' opinion. That's why I want to take to the comments here, right? I want to take to the comments. Let's see what Jake says. Jake says, I think we're missing an offense that can finish the fourth quarter as well as deep in, there we go. As well as a deep passing threat. So, okay. So that's the missing ticket. Okay. Let's keep it going. Let's see what Miguel says. I just need the first one at home against Panthers. They're always getting it all the time. Fair. Let's keep it going here. Shadow in the chat says, Justin Jefferson. Just go get Justin Jefferson. That's funny. I mean, I don't think that's even plausible. The Vikings would be absolutely crazy and dumb to do that. But hey, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I would take him in a heartbeat for sure. Let's keep it going. John in the chat says B07 is going to suck this year. So Kyler should have no distraction. Black Ops 7. Good God. Here we go again. I mean, unless the stigma is finally gone, it's going to keep happening. So Michael Evans in the chat says, we're missing an elite quarterback. I mean, there has been quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl that are not elite. But for the Cardinals, it definitely does feel like you need a guy that's a step over, right? A step higher than what Kyler Murray is providing to us, right? Michael says Josh Allen or Mahomes. Money in the chat says right tackle spot. Okay. I can't with you, man. I'm done. John in the chat says losing Sterling Thomas is definitely going to hurt us, I think. I agree. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah. Kyler, a little bit of a concern. Like I said, I'm coming into the season with fresh eyes and blind optimism. I'm putting all my faith that Kyler Murray is finally going to figure it out, right? That's what I'm putting my faith in. But if you really think about it, what usually makes up a championship caliber team, right? What makes up a championship caliber team? A number one wide receiver, maybe a second pass catcher that's very, very good, and a really good run game on the offensive side of the ball. Guess what? We got that. We got a potential wide receiver number one, which we're still waiting for Marv to take that second step. And I think for the most part, everybody believes in Marvin Harrison Jr. I actually heard, I believe it was Steven Smith Jr., and I could sworn it might have been James Palmer. I forgot who the co-host or who he was talking to. They believe in Marvin. They do. It's just, what is Kyler going to be able to feed him the way that he deserves to be fed, right? We know Trey McBride's going to. Right? So we got the weapons. We do. Michael Wilson, whether you want to call him a 2.5 or a number 3 wide receiver, well, guess what? We got one of the best passing catching tight ends in the entire NFL. That's 2 weapons receiving. That's a 2.5/3 wide receiver you got, which is pretty solid. And then you got a really good run game with James Conner. That should be enough to win you a lot of games in the NFL. Can we put it together? That's the big question out there, right? The reason why I talk about all these other wide receivers or bringing in another help is because I want the excuses to stop. I truly do. I don't want to leave this season if we crash and burn again with people saying, "Oh, well, he didn't have the weapons." No, this is it. This is it. This is put up or shut up time right here. This is put up or shut up time. Now, this is what's going to segue me into my next conversation here, right? Because I've seen this topic all throughout social media, Instagram, as well as on X/Twitter. Let me ask you guys, are you guys upset? Are you guys upset here in the chat that the Arizona Cardinals weren't in on Micah Parsons? Because if you think about it, they got a Pro Bowl caliber defensive lineman, which is 30, right? 30 years old. And then they gave up 2 first-round picks, one 2026 and the other one in 2027. So that doesn't seem like a very, very steep offer. Like, oh man, we can't afford that. That's crazy. The money on the other side, the 47 mil a year, that's a lot. That's a lot. That doesn't seem like a Monty Ford move. That doesn't seem like an Arizona Cardinal move at the end of the day, right? So my question to you, chat, is are you upset that the Arizona Cardinals didn't go in on Micah Parsons? Because if you look at it, can Kenny Clark been subbed out for maybe somebody we had in our defensive line, right? Zabin, I know BJ's hurt right now, but maybe throwing in another player that we potentially have, right? And then 2 first-round picks. Here's the thing. I've kind of come to the point where when we heard Jonathan Gannon come out and say that why the quarterbacks at the end of last year, he ended up coming out and I guess he was having a film session with Kyler, right? And he ended up asking him, "Oh, what's the difference between these quarterbacks in the playoffs compared to us?" Right? He told them, they have good teams, right? They have good teams. That's what he told Kyler, that they have good teams. Well, now on paper, we got a good team, right? Is there still some spots that I would love to fill and, be a little bit more confident? Yeah, there is some spots that I would love to fill in and be a little bit more confident. But there's only like 1 or 2 teams that are built to be Super Bowl caliber teams. And that's why they're always in contention to be in that conversation, right? The Eagles, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs. If you got Josh Allen or if you got Patrick Mahomes, they don't care if you have Bro Schmo or, Joe Schmo, right? Throwing the ball to. Shout out to Bro Schmo. Really, really cool content creator. But what I'm saying is they don't care, right? They don't care that you have those nobody guys that are throwing the ball to. They're elite quarterbacks, right? The Cardinals do need big time playmakers with the guys that we have right now, if that makes sense. So my question to you is, are you upset? Are you upset that the Cardinals didn't go in on it? Miguel in the chat says, well, Zay is good to go, so let's effing go. So, all right. X on the chat says no. Okay. Let's keep it on the chat here. We got Pedro in the chat says, if we win the Super Bowl, we're going to need for Jonathan getting to win Money in the Bank. And as the final second season, Super Bowl is coming down, and it runs and it crashes in. I don't know if that's okay. Let's keep it going. I'm not sure if that was here we go. Let's go, John. John in the chat is saying this. I feel like Parsons would be so. Why can't I read? I feel like Parsons would more be so a luxury pick. It would be great if we had him, but at the end of the day, I don't think we really need him. That's fair. Here's the thing. Remember 2 months ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, right? We were talking about, would you want Trey Hendrickson? Would you want Parsons? And for the most part, a lot of people in the chat were saying, yeah, I would love it, right? I would love it. But I agree. And I said this before. I don't think we need him right now. I don't think we need Micah Parsons. Do I want him? Yeah, of course I would want Micah Parsons, right? And seeing kind of what he went for, the 2 first-round picks and a Pro Bowl defensive lineman, that did seem attainable. I'm gonna be real here. That seemed attainable. Not for Monty, right? But like maybe I guess if I'm saying the Cardinals, that is Monty, right? That's Monty's. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that price that he went for, in terms of draft capital was a lot less than I thought he was actually going to go for. I thought he was going to go for 2 first round picks, maybe 2 second rounds, maybe I was talking about 4 picks. It was what I really thought he was going to go for, and maybe throwing a player as well. So the fact that he went for 2 first round picks and a player, I feel like that right there is the baseline of, hey, that could have potentially been plausible. But you're right, John. We didn't need him. Do you guys feel like we're a Super Bowl caliber team? I mean, I don't. I don't. Maybe the Cardinals don't either, right? Maybe they're going for just that next step, right? And the next step right now is, let's see if our quarterback can take us to the playoffs. Let's see if our quarterback can win a playoff game, right? Maybe that is what they're going for. Because if you think about it, let's think about it this way. We all talked about it, right? We all talked about it. This is a big year for Kyler, right? This is a massive year for Kyler. Imagine a world where the Arizona Cardinals went in on and gave up their 2 first round picks. Let's just say we live in the world like that, right? Let's say we live in a world where we gave up 2 first round picks for Micah Parsons. Let's say if this season doesn't turn out the way that we want it to. We want playoffs, we want a playoff win, right? That seems to be the expectation. What if we don't get there, right? Then we're hamstrung with Kyler for more. They were hamstrung with Kyler for more. So I see this Monty not making this move as kind of a blessing, if I'm going to be real, right? Now, we've all talked about this. Cap is a myth. As long as you have the owner willing to make a contract, they will do it as long as they want to do it at the end of the day, right? I kind of see this as a blessing. Like I said, did I want him? Of course, my fandom would have loved Micah Parsons on the team. Of course it would have, right? But if you really think about it, this is a blessing in disguise that the Cardinals didn't do it. Because then they're hamstrung more than they already kind of feel that they are, right? So then we give up 2 first round picks, a player, and then we're giving this guy $47 million, right? $47 million. And then you're kind of stuck. You're stuck with the current quarterback because you can't do anything. You can't get a quarterback. You can't shift, at least for the next 2 years, unless you're willing to throw everything in and try to move up within the draft. But this was one of those moves that Monty, Jonathan Gannon truly felt that, because here's the thing. There was other teams in on Micah Parsons. There was reported multiple times people were reporting this. Multiple teams were in on Micah Parsons. Now, was the Cardinals in on him? We don't know, right? And we're not going to have the luxury to know if they truly were. Now, of course, you have some people speculating, those big national media guys. The Cardinals look good, right? The Cardinals would be good with Micah Parsons, right? Of course, you're going to have big-time media speculating, because if it works, right? If it's like you throw things in the wall and see what sticks, right? Yeah, I mean, because when you're looking at it, this is a big year for the Cardinals. It is. But you would have hamstrung yourself so much more than you already kind of are. It's okay. We got Josh Sweat. Hopefully Jordan Birch becomes that guy that we all hope him to be, especially what we saw in preseason looks really good. Most likely it's going to be Zaven Collins and Baron Browning on the opposite side of Josh Sweat right now. But I'm okay with this. I'm really okay with the Cardinals not going in. Of course, there's a little like FOMO, like, oh man, that sucks. But I'm more critical on Jerry Jones and how dumb he is. Like, that's what I'm critical on more. And like, how dumb, right? Michael Parsons, like, come on, Michael. It's not Michael, it's Micah. How many times did this man say Michael Parsons in this freaking press conference? How many times? It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Here we go. Another super chat coming our way. We got Martin. What's up, Martin? He says, we should have gotten Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp. Well, you're not wrong to want wide receiver help. You're not wrong. And that's why I always preach it, right? That's one of the big worriness that I have when it comes down to this Arizona Cardinal offensively is the wide receiving core, right? We're putting a lot of bank on the fact that we want Marvin to take that next step. He could very well. He could very well be an 1,100, 1,200 yard receiver. But is he going to get the ball thrown to him enough times to accumulate that? Now, per people that aren't Cardinal fans, that are fantasy player, oh, Marvin's a bust. Come out here with that mess. Get out of here with that mess. His 4th overall pick in a very, very run-heavy offense, right? Very run-heavy offense. Number one target isn't, unfortunately, Marvin. It's Trey McBride. Now, it is going to be up to Petzing. Petzing, please learn. You got 3 years of learning. You got to get the ball to your best wide receiver, and that is Marv. So I hope we start seeing some specific things that are favoring the ball going over to Marv, whether it's some quick screen passes, whether it's moving them to the slot, which we have seen Marvin Harrison Jr. move to the slot, which is actually pretty exciting on its own. So hopefully we get this situated, right? And we become a little bit more, what's the word? Or this offense becomes a little bit more evolved, right? That's what I'm looking for. Evolve. We need to evolve this offense. I still do think we're going to be a really, really run-heavy offense. But, of course, you got to throw the ball down the field and then nibble, right, to kind of move up the field. It can't just be run. The pass has got to have to happen as well. So, Hector in the chat says, Jerry stacking picks for Archie. I mean, with what it sounds like, it seems like they really like Dak. But I guess that doesn't really mean anything, right? If you really think about it, I guess that doesn't really mean anything because anybody can get moved off of. Like, let's be real. Even when Russell Wilson had a crazy contract with the Broncos, they cut him in a year, right? They cut him in a year as long as the owner's willing to eat it, which if you got one of the richest owners in the NFL, Broncos, Wally World money, and then on top of that, now you got the Cowboys, which was one of the richest owners in the NFL. Guess you can eat it sometimes, right? I don't know if they're even thinking about quarterback, to be real. But Jerry Jones came out and he said that he feels like they're better. He feels like they're better right now because they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the run, Jerry Jones says. So they feel like they're better because now they got Kenny Clark. I'm not diminishing Kenny Clark. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a fantastic player. I really do. But there's moves that you make and there's moves that you don't make. This is a move that you do not make. You don't get rid of a talent like this in his prime. I can't wait for Green Bay versus Cowboys this year. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be very, very exciting to see. He's going to eat. He's going to eat. Adrian in the chat says, Jerry definitely wants Archie. Maybe. Two Gamers. What's up, Two Gamers? He says this, Cardinals need a solid wide receiver number 2. O-line needs to ball out. Will Johnson needs to ball out like an elite cornerback, and we can make a playoff run. This team, with those adjustments and this schedule. Well, right now, we don't have a solid number, or let me rephrase that back. Right now, they are leaning a lot on Michael Wilson to become that number 2 wide receiver, right? Let's hope that happens. Let's hope. I like Michael Wilson. I really do. I think Michael Wilson is good if given the opportunity. We've seen some crazy things that he's done if given the opportunity, right? O-line, we have one of the best offensive lines. And now you're adding Will Hernandez back. I don't think he's going to be a starter from the get, but maybe he will kind of ease into that right guard position that he was before he got hurt. Maybe, right? But I think we got one of the most solid offensive lines. I'm not saying we're top 3 or top 4, but we're definitely up there. We're definitely up there. Will Johnson, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Cornerbacks is one of the hardest positions to master in less than a year. Do I expect big things from Will Johnson? I mean, when you got that talent level that he has, he should have been a top 10, top 15 pick in the first round. Everybody was saying it, right? The scare of the knee, everybody was worried about it. He fell to the Cardinals at the second round. We benefited. But what will make Will Johnson help him is our defensive line, which we upgraded massively, right? We upgraded massively. Let's stay healthy, too. Stay healthy is another big one. X in the chat says, Michael Wilson has shown us nothing but the fact that he will be that number 2. Wait, let me read that again. Michael Wilson has shown us nothing but the fact that he will be that number 2. Why believe anything else? I mean, yeah, I mean, so far, like I said, I'm pretty high on Michael Wilson myself. I know there's some people that are not as high on Michael Wilson. I think he's solid. I really do. Remember the day of Josh Dobbs he can, I'm not going to say take over a game, but we've seen glimpses of what Josh Allen, Michael Wilson can do, right? There was a game and it was versus the San Francisco 49ers and it was with Josh Jobs. So this might have been his rookie year. He got 2 touchdowns. It's all based off opportunity, right? It's all based off opportunity. So I think he is solid. I really do. Are we going to be able to maneuver and give everybody a chance to eat? That's going to be the big question. What I want to see from Michael Wilson is take the next step. He's been averaging 500 yards-ish a season. It's now time to take that next step. The next step for me, 700, 750, 800 yards. Marvin, on the other hand, you got to crack 1K. You got to crack 1K. Trey McBride's going to eat. We know that. Trey McBride's going to eat. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Let me just do a real quick break from our sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. That's going to be none other than My Valley Prince. Real quick 30-second break. My Valley Prince.
Yo, Red Sea, you know how we rep the Cards with pride every Sunday, so why not rep your own squad the same way? Whether it's your business, your team, or your crew, My Valley Prints has you covered with custom screen prints and embroidery right here in the desert. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, you name it. From clean logos to bold game day drip, they'll make your vision look like a first-round pick. Local, reliable, and always bringing that Cardinal level energy. Hit up myvalleyprints@yahoo.com or DM them via Instagram to get your gear started. My Valley Prints, built for the Valley, designed for you.
Another shout out here to My Valley Prince. Best way to reach out to them is going to be via Instagram on their DMs or check them out on myvalleyprints@yahoo.com. If you're looking to get your new customizable hats, shirts, hoodies, make sure to check out My Valley Prince. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue this conversation here. Great conversation all around. Let's go ahead and take it to the chat where you guys are absolutely firing it in there with all these questions or just suggestions or maybe just disagreeing with me in general, right? Let's go ahead and let's go with Levin. What's up, Levin? Saying this, I guess Jerry is now the worst general manager. Even the trade of DJ31 and D-Hop is not on that level. Generational talent for 2 late firsts and an old number 2. I mean, here's the thing, right? It depends on how you look at it. Because believe it or not, the only people that are saying this trade is okay now is Cowboys fans. They're trying to cope. They're coping real hard right now. The moment that you can realize that this was a fumbled big time mistake by your general manager, that's really the only way that things can get better and you can move on to the future. It's been done already, right? Micah Parsons didn't want to be there, right? We saw the Myles Garrett put out his own statement saying he didn't want to be a Cleveland Brown anymore because this, and that, right? This was different. Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, when he put out his statement, that was different. There was ego bruises, right? It got personal. That's why he got... There's no way that a general manager or an owner is going to convince me, if I was a Cowboy fan, that this was the right thing to do. If you truly wanted to move on and you were so smart and you were, I'm almighty, this is the best thing, you should have done it before the draft. Why now? We're less than 10 days away from the start of the season. There's no way that somebody's going to come out here and convince me that this was the best thing to do. This is the best thing to do. It was a unanimous decision. Us and the coaching staff all agreed. You should, if this is all so smart, almighty, you should have done this before the draft and got way more value than you already did. So calling him the worst general manager, maybe. He just loves to hear himself talk. Micah Parsons. It's not Michael Parsons. It's Micah Parsons. He's one of your best darn players on the defensive side of the ball. And guess what? I bet there was a lot of teams calling about him because you add him to your defense. That's different. That's going to be a real potential Hall of Fame player. But I'm just glad it's not us. Right? I'm just glad it's not the Cardinals. Because I don't know how I would want to wake up this morning if I was a Cowboy fan. If I'm going to be real. It's rough. Strict 2.0, I'm still ready for week 1. I agree, buddy. I agree. Adrian, what's up, buddy? He says, I love Michael, but since Marvin's here and is paired with the best tight end in football, Michael's going to fall behind. But hell, be that secret safety blanket, he will ball out this season. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're, I mean, it depends on the expectations that you have for Michael Wilson, right? You are right because he's being treated as a number 3 option right now, if we're going to be real, right? So for me to come out here and say I want 800 yards, it does seem a little unfair, right? But in order for him to get that stigma off him that he's not a number 2, he at least has to hit 700, at least 700. Even if it's like 675, I'll take that, right? I'll take that. 698, I'll take that. But he's got to get off that stigma that everybody right now doesn't believe. I mean, I still do, but he is the 3rd option in terms of pass catchers right now. It's Marv. I'm sorry. Let me reframe that. It's Trey McBride, your number 1, and number 2 is going to be Marv. Number 3 is Michael, right? So we'll see. We'll see. We do got the Packers this year. If you did not know, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be playing the Packers in State Farm Stadium in October 19th in that middle slot of games. So we will be playing the Packers, and Micah Parsons will be coming to State Farm Stadium. That's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a fun game. Even if we don't win that game, looking at the schedule before, there's absolutely no reason why the Cardinals shouldn't have 4 wins. At least 4 wins heading into this Packers game. At least 4 wins heading into the Packers game. Saints, Panthers. I know the Panthers always beat us, but we got to have urgency. We got to beat them this year. We got to take one from the division, whether it's the 49ers or the Seahawks. We got to take one of those games. Titans, you can't lose to Cam Ward. The Titans does not have a good team right now. You can't lose to Cam Ward. Got to win that one. The Colts, Flacco, come on. I mean, will AR play that game? I mean, who knows? Who knows what the Colts are doing? So you have to have at least 4 wins by the time we hit the Packers game. So it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a must win, right? To kind of stay within the division. We'll see. Kenny says that seems low. Well, at the Packers game, so we got the Saints, the Panthers, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Titans, and the Colts. You got 6 games. 6 games before the Packers game. 6. If you have 4 wins, so you're 4-2, essentially. That seems low, kind of, but not to me. I mean, that seems pretty solid. Like, you got back-to-back division games. If you can win one of those games, that's dynamite, right? The only one that I'm, like, really worried about in the 6-game stretch is probably the Seahawks because they spanked us for years when Geno Smith has been there. They've been spanking us for years. So that's the only one that I'm really worried about in the first 6 weeks before you hit the Packers. But if you don't have at least 4 wins going into the Packers, then we got a problem. Then we got a problem. Arturo, Micah ain't that guy. Really? You don't think Micah Parsons is going to ball out with the Green Bay Packers? Really? Maybe elaborate a little bit for me here, Arturo. You don't think this is a win for the Packers, or are you saying the Cardinals shouldn't get Parsons? Because if that's the case, I'm not saying the Cardinals should get Parsons. So clarify for me here real quick. Clarify for me here real quick. Are you talking about, I guess, in what context are we saying I took an L? John in the chat says Twitter is something else, bro. Twitter is the worst social media right now is Facebook, bro. Facebook is the worst social media. Worst. So they have some things on there that's not even real. Arturo saying Cowboys won this trade. Oh, so you're saying the Cowboys won it? Nah. Okay. All right. Really? Nah, I don't think so. You got 2 first late round picks. Most likely. You're probably going to be picking somewhere in 22 to somewhere in the 30s. The Packers are going to be a playoff team. Both years. I can almost promise that. If not, they're probably going to be at 19-20. I don't know if they won this trade, but obviously everybody's entitled to their opinion. So you're saying, okay, appreciate you for clarifying. John in the chat says, I'm concerned about the Seattle defense. The offense isn't there yet. Yeah, I agree. The defense is what worries me when it comes down to Seattle. 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. X in the chat saying Micah is for sure that guy, but there's something to be said about his best maybe here now, and it's only for 2 or 4 years. I mean that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. So he's in his prime, right? He's in his prime. So you're saying that it only might last for. I mean that's fair to say. That's fair. Let's keep it with the chat here. We got Richie saying, I'm not worried about our wide receiving core. I think Wilson and Dortch have shown that before, just not our identity more. We run it down your throats and check it down to our running back and tight end. The problem with this is our identity shouldn't be checkdowns are okay. Does that make sense? All right, let me clarify this. Our identity shouldn't be checkdowns are okay. You're right. It is run the ball down your throats. 100%. It is shifted to a heavy package, 12 personnel, where it made that change when Petsing's been here, right? I think we all know that. But it shouldn't be okay for us to be okay with checking down all the time. And that's what I feel like the Cardinals were so used to doing last year. The checkdowns, the check down, the check down, the check down, which if it's there, I guess take it, but you also have to have explosives, right? Like Jonathan Gannon says, the explosive. You got to win the explosive battle. A lot of times in that second half, the Cardinals were not winning explosive battles. It's probably why we were 2-5 after the bye week. But just opinions, right? Opinions. It's Carson in the chat saying, no way the Cowboys won this trade. This is one of the worst decisions Jerry Jones has made, and that is very, very low bar. That's funny. Yeah, I agree. I'm one of the I guess the people that feel the same way. I know there's some people out there that feel like it's okay for Cowboy fans, and that's fine, right? Whether it's, you know, they're a Cowboy fan or they want to see a light at the end of the because you can put anything and spin it the way you want to spin it, right? Oh, Micah Parsons was the distraction. Micah Parsons was laying on on a table. He didn't seem interested, right? Oh, Micah Parsons was this. Micah Parsons was that. Guess what? It took something to get him to that level, right? It got him something to take him to that level to where he was laying on the freaking table and didn't seem interested, or maybe was deemed as toxic in the locker room, whatever you want to paint the picture as, right? It took a while, or it took something to get him to that level, right? So I'm one of those guys don't feel like this was a good move by the Cowboys. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion at the end of the day. Jane Slater, I believe of the NFL Network, posted a picture here of Kenny Clark. There it is. Kenny Clark. Welcome to Dallas. And this is the thing, too. This is every Dallas Cowboy fan should be supporting this guy, right? Now, is he going to have a lot of expectations and a lot of weight on his shoulders? Well, I mean, if it wasn't for their darn owner saying they brought him here to stop the run, and that was one of their biggest, weakest points to stop the run, which although on paper could be, but it almost does feel like, oh, we brought our Messiah to stop the run. So I'm not sure if Jerry Jones is really doing any favors to Kenny Clark by saying the same thing over and over again and keep calling Micah Parsons Michael. Miguel in the chat says, I think Jerry Jones is trusting in Dak to handle everything with that big payday he got. He did mention he is one of the highest paid players in the NFL. So maybe. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're kind of in the same situation that we are in, right? With Kyler and Dak, right? Because there's some fans for the Cowboys that don't believe in Dak. There's some fans of the Cardinals that don't believe in Kyler, right? Very rarely do you see a fan base completely 100% bought in what they could accomplish. We're seeing that right now with one team that's very similar to the Cardinals, or they used to be kind of similar to the Cardinals. The Commanders. The Commanders right now are flying high. Like that fan base right now, they're thinking Super Bowl. Guess why? And guess what? They just got rid of Brian Thomas Jr., right? Is that right? Brian Thomas Jr., is that his name? Could have sworn that was not Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Robinson Jr. I knew I was wrong. Brian Robinson Jr. They just got rid of Brian Robinson Jr. and they still think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. Guess why? Because Jaden. Because what Jaden showed in his rookie year is like we haven't seen in a very long time. So the Commanders fan base right now, they're feeling it, man. They're feeling it. And to their own right. Good for them. Good for them. I see them as what we used to be, right? Jaden Daniels is a fantastic player. He is. With what you've seen and how he torched the Cardinals and other teams, it's what we wanted Kyler to be, right? What we wanted Kyler to be. Let's not forget Kyler Murray's rookie year was like 5 wins or 4 wins. 5 or 4? I forgot. Remind me in the chat. So what we're seeing with these new batch of quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, and he's probably maybe he's got a weak division. You're right there, but he's still winning division titles, right? And then you got Jaden Daniels coming out, and he's doing pretty darn good for himself as well. So, yeah, Jaden's looking good, man. So the Commanders fans right now are feeling it. They're hyped. They're hyped up, and they should be. They should be. So we got a lot of questions right now. A lot of questions that I'm hoping get answered by the end of this year. And we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how this all shakes out. We got Uncanny in the chat saying Commanders fall short this year. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they're not good enough to beat the Eagles, but let's be real. What other team in the NFC East? What other team in the NFC East is going to give them a run for their money? They got to play them 6 times. They probably will sweep the Giants. The Cowboys. We know what the Cowboys are. And then you got the Eagles. The Eagles are probably still favored to win the NFC East, if I'm going to be real. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Randall in the chat says, Jaden is great, but that coaching staff is elite. It's the reason why they have so much. Don't say that to me. Don't say that to me, Randall. Don't say that to me. Don't say that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because obviously we had Cliff here. I mean, but they also do have a head coach in Dan Quinn that used to be a head coach before, right? So maybe Cliff was the guru, but he needed to get an offensive coordinator, which he refused to do here. He wanted to do it all. Cliff did not want to get he had one, but he didn't want to give the play calls, I guess is what I was trying to say. He didn't want to give the play calling. It's just too much for a brand new head coach coming out of college. Just too much. Jackson Dart, he does look good. But Jackson Dart's not going to start. Jackson Dart might come maybe midway through the season when they're done with the Russell Wilson experiment. I don't think he's going to start. Biggest reason why is because there's people out there saying that their general manager and head coach, this could be their year. This could be the final year for them. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Get closer to God says Cowboys are fool's gold, just like the 49ers in a fall short. Well, good thing we have one of those guys in our division. Let's see. Let's keep it reading here. Cliff refused to go to OC from a head coach. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I never said demote you. I've never said, Cliff, you got to be demoted. There is no head coach that is going to take that offer. Like, be real, right? And this is the best way to describe it. What if you worked for a company and you were a manager, right? What if you worked for a company and you were a manager, but you were very underperforming and you were not doing your manager duties, right? And they looked at you and said, hey, it's not working. You can stay with the company, but we're going to go ahead and completely cut your salary and we're going to demote you down to a role. Would you take that role? Would you take that role? Most people won't. Most people won't. Or if they do, they're probably looking for a new job on Indeed.com. They'll probably take it because maybe the alternative is getting fired. So they'll probably take it for a little bit, but then they're on their way somewhere else. So there was just no way that he was going to accept demotion. What people were mainly asking for was get yourself a guy that could help you with play calls. It's too much for you. And he just wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. Ain't nobody going as in a manager role in their job down to let me get back on the calls or let me be customer service or let me no ain't nobody doing that. And Cliff wasn't gonna do that either. Cliff got another opportunity. Good for him. Cliff got another opportunity. Good for him. A lot of people don't get that opportunity. So good for him at the end of the day. We'll see. Let's read a couple more comments here. Kyler was still inconsistent with Cliff. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, the whole offense was pretty inconsistent. There was one good year in the first half when we were 7-0, 8-2 at one point, and wheels came off. So, yeah. This management has forward thinking. The culture has been rebuilt. You're talking about now? Yeah, I mean, I got faith in Monty. I think Monty's doing a good job. Would I like him to be a little bit more aggressive? I would, right? And not necessarily aggressive to the point where I wanted Micah Parsons, because I said it earlier. I'm glad the Cardinals didn't go Micah Parsons, because then we would be hamstrung to all the decisions that we have after this year if it doesn't work out for us. If it doesn't work out for us this year, then we're hamstrung because we don't have first round picks for the next foreseeable future, right? So I'm glad that they didn't. Did I want him? I mean, of course. I feel it'd be awesome. And if we got him, my tune would have changed. I'd be like, oh, this is the play. But right now, obviously, he moved on to the Packers. I'm not going to lose sleep about it. All I'm going to do is laugh at all my Cowboys friends. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to laugh at all the friends that I have that are Cowboy fans, aka / also my dad. This is what I do. Randall in the chat continuing, he says, all I'm saying is that there was talk about Kyler being an MVP under Cliff. I haven't heard that talk coming from the current coaching staff. Fair. But Kyler took that big step in year 3, right? Kyler took that big step in year 3. I'm trying to think of when Kyler Murray was in MVP talks. Keep in mind that Kyler Murray was in MVP talks when he was 6-4. This last year, he was. Keep that in mind as well. Kyler Murray was in MVP talks when he was 6-4. Problem is that after the bye week, we know what happens. Right? We know what happens. So Kyler was in MVP talks. People were talking about Kyler Murray. Oh man, you see the guy, he's 6-4. First 10 games, bye week happened, crash and burn, right? So there was people talking about Kyler about like that. And that's year 2 of Petsing. Year 3, this is the next step right here. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's read one more comment, and then we'll be closing up shop. We got Matthew in the chat saying, it's got to remember Gannon came when Kyler Murray was injured. Came only for 2.5 seasons. Yeah, but the NFL doesn't care about that. That's the problem. The NFL doesn't care about that. I know where you're coming from, 100%, right? Because I know you want to say that Kyler was, instead of 2 years, right, he put in 1.5 years, right? It's probably what you're going for. But NFL doesn't care about that. You know what I mean? The NFL cares, what have you done for me lately? And right now, Kyler Murray is going into his back-to-back years of being healthy. There's a lot of expectations for Kyler. A lot. Not only with this fan base, but nationally. People forgot that Kyler Murray he flew under the radar so badly that people forgot he was going into his year 7 of being a franchise QB. Julio in the chat says Kyler was an MVP. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he was. He was in MVP talks last year. 100%. He was. It's just the dreaded bye week happened. After the bye week and the second half collapse, 2-5. Of course, ain't nobody gonna be talking about you when you win 2 games. It's the way it is. The NFL, it's an ugly business. Just the way that it is. Do me a huge favor, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna be closing up shop right here. Smack the like button on your way out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I don't even know how we made this podcast an hour. I was only going to go 30 minutes, but you guys are absolutely amazing. We're going to continue to do what we're doing here moving forward. The season starts next week. We got Cardinals versus Saints preview coming out, and we're also trying to collab with some other content creators out there that cover the Saints to give us a deep down on how they truly feel about their team. So more content coming out of your ears coming next week. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way out. Another great, successful podcast. Another shout out here to my guys, My Valley Prince. If you're looking for your next hat, shirt, hoodie, customizable, project, make sure you check out My Valley Prince. Check them out on myvalleyprince@yahoo.com or DM them via their Instagram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals. See you later, chat.